This episode of the Adam Carolla Show is brought to you by Simply Safe.
Rick told me if any of you guys fuck up the carpet, he's going to be pissed. So I just want to.
I use those words too.
He was very clean. He said muss up, but I wanted to drive his point home, so I used a little profanity. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. Rick is a guy I admired from afar from quite some time, and now I get to do it in a much closer proximity. So I've always been a fan of Rick and his work and his process and what he's trying to do and what I still think he can do here in LA and possibly even in California. And yes. Yeah, we did a little poll. It's a partisan crowd, but I'm just a big fan of this guy, and I'm so glad that I've had an opportunity just to get to know him a little bit, and he's even better than I could have imagined. So thanks for doing this tonight, Rick.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for having me, and thank you everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. Just so you know, parking rates went up 500%. So on your way out.
Yeah, so we'll take some questions from the audience at some point. I thought we'd chat a little with Rick before that, and then we'll, again, take your questions. I think Alicia will run around with a microphone, and we can get into that. But I'm curious, so Rick, you and I may be one of the few people that were sort of born and bred here in Los Angeles. Almost everyone I know seems to be from somewhere else, but you're out here day one?
Day one, raised in West LA. My parents, my dad was actually born in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. My grandparents on both sides were immigrants, came through Ellis Island. My paternal grandfather ended up in Uniontown as a coal miner, and my dad was actually born in the coal mining camp. And his family finally convinced them to move to the West Coast, and he moved to Boyle Heights and became a gardener. But yeah, me and my sister, my brother, were all raised here.
Yeah, when you have black lung at age 8, it's not a good sign.
Yeah. Well, and also, he was the dynamiter.
Your
my
grandfather was the dynamiter,
which is never a long-term career path. You know, being the first guy in and having to get the heck out.
The dynamiter's like right up there with the king's food tester. It's just not a job where you retire. But that plunger thing, man, that's the greatest job ever. And then, of course, when the fat guy sits on it by mistake, hijinks ensue. So your grandfather was working the mines, Pennsylvania, and you came out here. Your dad came out here as a young man and was a gardener.
Grandfather was a gardener
when he came out to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't think a lot of people know or remember this, but if you're in Los Angeles long enough, gardener was a job that anyone did. It was there were a lot of Japanese gardeners in LA back in the day. It's a sort of Mr. Miyagi thing. My grandparents had a gardener, and he was a Japanese gardener. And the reason I sort of bring that up is because everyone can go through, a gardening phase, but then you should pass through it, meaning education and college and all that. And then your son doesn't become a gardener. He becomes a landlord. So that's sort of, and he has someone else do the gardening. But the point is your dad, of all people, was out here as the Italian gardener back.
Oh, my grandfather.
Oh, your grandfather, sorry.
Right.
Out here from Pennsylvania, from the coal mines.
Leaving the coal mines.
And so he came out here and had your dad out here? Or your dad was only
my grandmother, my grandfather, and they had 3 boys. Mm-hmm. And they lived in Boyle Heights in a little triplex. They had one of the apartments.
And
Boyle Heights in those days, not to interrupt you, but that was like the old Italian Jewish neighborhood of L.A. So it was a logical place for an Italian immigrant to end up.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that because I'm Italian, and this city does not have a little Italy. It has a little Ethiopia. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but you get a little Italy first, and then at some point you get little Ethiopia, time permitting. But you don't get little Ethiopia, no little Italy. We need a little Italy, Paisan. I mean, somebody's got to spearhead this, because we need a place to get gelato and listen to guys play the mandolin. We don't have any of that out here, which is weird, because I don't know. Obviously New York has it's going to have little Soviet Union coming up, so that's a little communism. It's going to have Stalintown, next, but at least for now, they have a little Italy. So I'd like you to spearhead that.
I'm on it.
Get into charge. And it's a little early in the evening, but I know you're talking about doing something, and I'm guessing, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think I'll speak for you.
Okay. I'll go sit over there.
Rick's the kind of guy. No, I feel like you would like to go on with your life and build all your amazing projects and enjoy all the fruits of your labor, but this town, the city, and the state have come so unraveled over the last 20 years or so that you feel compelled to get involved. Is that true?
I feel compelled to a point, but I also do like public service. So there's two sides of it. I do see our city at the edge of a cliff and certainly heading in the wrong direction. And I do see our state definitely heading in the wrong direction. And I do enjoy taking very complex problems, taking them apart and putting them back together. And I love public service. There's a guy right here named Art Castellum. I'll embarrass Art. Art used to work in the city for Tom Bradley. And 40 years ago, Art, I was tapped by Tom Bradley to be a Department of Water and Power commissioner, and worked with Art under Tom Bradley. And I really fell in love with public service. So I like that, but I'm getting pushed in a lot of different directions. There's no question. But I feel fortunate that I'm getting pushed.
Is it possible to unravel the bureaucracy and to actually make things work? And I know, sort of, as a builder, you want to hit the ground running. It's all, I've sort of explained to people all the time, because I had a background in building as well. It's sort of hurry, 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 and subs. Who are your subs? Now, I think you see that with Donald Trump. Trump wants to build, and then he wants to surround himself with good subs who can get the job done, because building is always sort of about, well, we got to get the land graded, and then we got to do the foundation, and then where's the framing, and then where's the exterior guys, and what about the drywall guys, what about the door and window guys? It's like boom, 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 like what's holding us up? Let's go. And every guy I know who does building, especially commercial stuff, has a sort of hit the ground running versus a kind of Karen Bass, you know what I mean? Maybe I'll just go to Ghana and find a hammock and stretch out a little bit. And you could see it when they had that little meeting after the big fire. Trump was screaming, let's go, let's do it now. People can clean up their own lots. And she was yelling, slow down. We don't want to, safety first. So I think your instinct as a builder is to fix things, but with the bureaucracy, can you navigate that world?
Oh, I think so. I know so. I'm not worried about that. And I think that's part of the fun of getting in office and not being a career politician and not be beholden to a whole bunch of rules. You have to go in there with a new set of eyes and really clear thinking and say, I think first and foremost, what is your number one duty? And I think this is the biggest problem we have now with our elected officials. They're more in for serving themselves and getting reelected than serving the people they took an oath to serve. And if you start by saying, I'm going to go serve the residents, how are we going to do this? you will find ways to get things done. And that's not meaning you're going to go and break the laws and all this kind of stuff, but you're going to get creative, you're going to be innovative, you have a sense of urgency and determination. And I think the people around you that are in the city, that are probably bored to death, or in the state, that are bored to death because very little happens, would just enjoy the energy of forward momentum for once in their life. So I find that exhilarating, to be honest. I find the challenge to be exhilarating. Is it going to be easy? No. Is it doable? Yes.
What did you make of the recent article in the LA Times talking about the fire and how it was started a week earlier and how it smoldered for, I guess, 7 days, and the battalion commander pulled the guys off, but there's texts back and forth saying that the guys thought that they should stay behind. What does that mean to you, and how did that sort of compute with you?
Listen, it was tough to read. I don't think it was a surprise to many of us that were in the Palisades. I think many of us were saying from the beginning this fire was completely preventable. I know I was saying that, and I was being ridiculed for saying that, but it was clear we had a fire a week before. And I think, Adam, this goes to exactly what we have in the city of LA, and to a great extent what we have in the state of California. We have the epitome of incompetence, and we are paying a dear price. In the Palisades, 7,000 homes burnt down, thousands of people, families were impacted, thousands and thousands of people lost their jobs, all because of incompetence. And it starts with the mayor. It's just a matter of fact. Because what we haven't heard from the mayor, and I'm not trying to beat her up, I'm just talking about facts. If you were the mayor of LA and this report came out, the first thing you would do, if you had been prepared, would stand up at a podium and say, let me walk you through the 24 meetings I had with city departments to be prepared for these catastrophic winds that were coming. Not a word of that. Didn't even respond to the after-action report. It was crickets. So what I've said, and I will continue to say, I think now we're in cover-up mode.
Right.
And the cover-up is always a bigger problem for somebody than the actual negligence or crime or bad deed. And I really feel for people, including our own family that lost homes, but I really feel for people that don't have a lot of options, that were wiped out financially, lost their homes, lost their neighborhoods, lost their community, lost their schools, their churches, their synagogues, their way of life. And it was 100% preventable. The largest disaster that I'm aware of that could have been so easily prevented. And somebody needs to pay, a group of people really need to be held accountable. And I'm talking about maybe even criminally accountable for what they did.
Well, I spoke to you when we were doing our vlog, and you were explaining how you essentially prevented it from happening on your property in the Palisades. And I'm wondering if you just sort of share that with the audience, because, you know, we hear about private fire department, and I don't know if most people know how that works. Now, of course, my dad had a fire department when I was growing up, but many of you did not have what Jim Carolla had, which is a private fire department. Yeah, I had a Dalmatian. I used to ride in the back of the truck. Chili every night, foosball. It was awesome. But I didn't really know how it worked, how essentially having a private fire department worked. And it was an interesting process, and it's also how they mobilized before the fire, I thought was interesting, and also sort of spoke to you and your abilities as well. So could you just sort of walk us through how that would work?
Sure, but I think, again, Adam, this goes to having executive skills, where one of them, which is really important, is to ask questions.
Right.
Right? So if you're the mayor of LA and you had a fire on January 1st and you're getting texts on your phone saying there's life-threatening catastrophic winds, you probably start out with the first question, are we prepared and how are we prepared? I mean, it's just anybody can do that. Now, this gentleman standing right there, I'll embarrass him, Banyan with the red tie on, we're building the Miramar and up in Montecito, and we've got a fire coming over the hill heading towards the Miramar. We're in framing. You know framing very well.
Sure.
And
studs, trimmers, headers, joists, top plates, bottom plates, shear wall. I'll keep going.
Sounds sexy. Okay. And Banyan and I were on the phone, and also our CEO, Corinne. And the simple question was, how do we protect ourselves if this fire keeps coming at us? And the local fire department up in Montecito in Santa Barbara County, we know and should first respond to the homes, not the commercial buildings. And we're just in framing. They're not going to want to waste their time on us. And Banyan put together a plan and came back to Corinne and I and said, we've got private firefighters. I think you brought them in from Arizona. I got water trucks coming in, and I got retardant trucks coming in. Now, fortunately, we didn't have to use them. We had them stationed, and that was a terrible fire, if you remember. And then after that fire, we had the rains up in Montecito, Santa Barbara, right? Flooded. We had people lost their homes. They lost their lives, the freeway. So we went through a terrible patch up there. So we're building palisades. We know we're in a fire zone. And the first thing that we did was we built a project that didn't have any combustible material. So what looks like wood is really concrete formed to look like wood. And we didn't have exterior vents. Most of the homes that were burned down in Palisades and Altadena burned from the inside out. The embers got through the vents, went inside the house. So we designed it to withstand a fire as best possible and still make it look beautiful. And then, of course, Banyan had a plan up on a shelf in a binder. And when it said life-threatening catastrophic winds coming, and we knew there was a fire a week before, Banyan calls up and says, I'm putting the plan into place. And 2 days, what was it, 2 or 3 days before? 2 days before, firefighters, fire trucks, water tanks, and retardant. And we're there, stationed, ready to go. Now, I would just say, and then I'll let you ask, think about, had the city of LA done that? In one spot, that's all they had to be, was in one spot, be pre-deployed. And they never were.
Yeah, if you have a chance to go up to Mescal Canyon, which I have on a couple occasions, and you go to the top and you look over the devastation, you just see nothing but scorched earth and vacant lots. Now they've been cleared. And then you see Caruso's facility, and it just sits there like a jewel in the desert. Everything around it is completely gone, and you would think to yourself, well, what did this person do differently than what was around it? And that's prepare. I think the statement you like, and I don't want to paraphrase, but I've heard you say before, if it's preventable.
What's predictable is preventable.
What's predictable is preventable, which is a very, very good.
But listen, I'm really proud. I mean, I'm really proud of our team, what they did. Thank you. Very proud of our team, what they did. I'm also even more proud of the fact we saved the whole block of buildings on our side and the whole block of buildings on the other side. And what that's allowing is businesses are reopening now. They're all small businesses, local businesses. And it's also going to give Palisades at least a part of a downtown to come back to, right? And I'm really excited. We're going to reopen the village in August, better than ever. And it's going to be great.
I look forward to going by there for a $19 coffee.
No, we're
Medium, not a small. Let's not throw any shade.
I didn't know we had coffee that cheap, but that's okay.
$19. I mean, with tip, obviously, but I'm not a big tipper, so it's still expensive. Yeah, I know one of the things I think we're simpatico on here, Rick, is that how trashy this town is. It drives me nuts to drive through this town and look at so much graffiti and garbage And for some reason, the one that always gets me is the kids' toys. I just hear the little kids singing off the side of the 5 freeway. But, when they say you can judge a culture by its prisons. I think you can judge it by its highways. Because I travel the country constantly. I play shows everywhere, every state in the union. And when you're from California and you land in Wisconsin or you land in Kentucky or anywhere and you're driving along the highway, you always go, wow, it's so nice. Like, it's clean. It's well maintained. The roads are nice. There's not graffiti and garbage everywhere. And L.A. is just trashy. And I think California, and I think about those sort of postcards from the 50s and that kind of California that we all have, in the rear view mirror of the 55 Bel Air, but that grew up with sort of thing. And I also think of California and Los Angeles as sort of on the vanguard of, recycling and ecologies, we used to say, and environment and stuff. So to have it be so trashy and dirty, it feels so counter to what we're supposed to be, this sort of shining golden state, not golden shower state because a hobo took a leak on you.
Whoa.
Well, sorry. I'm just riffing here, Rick. You knew this was going to be a popularity contest coming up here. But the point is I want to clean this place up, and it drives me nuts to see it this way. It really does. And it doesn't have to be this way.
Right.
And one of the things I think when you were talking about making a run for mayor, you said day one you're going to hire 1,000 sanitation workers or some version of that. But why is it acceptable? I guess, why do we permit this?
Well, you're absolutely right. Listen, in the city, and I've been going all over the state, so I don't travel as much as you do around the country, but I've been going all over the state. And there's parts of the state that are just beautifully clean. And it even aggravates me even more. You don't even have to go that far.
Oh, you get into Orange County.
Yeah.
When you go into Orange County, you're in Orange County, not from a sign, but from not being inside a pothole and not seeing barbed wire on the freeway signs and a shopping cart with the hobo in it on the side of the freeway. All of a sudden it opens up, it gets smooth, it gets green, it gets nice. It's doable.
It's doable.
It's 21 miles from here.
Yeah. Well, I must say, Glendale's a very clean city.
Well, that's
so.
Yes.
And we love having. We've got a big investment in Glendale, and it's been one of the great cities to partner with. So, and I'm not saying that just because the mayor's there. No, I actually am, Laura. I'm saying that no.
I love the Armenian community, by the way. That helps. Mark Daragos is a dear friend. A dear friend. Sorry,
but we do love Glendale. They've been a great partner to invest with.
Right,
no,
so it doesn't
have to be that way.
Here's a problem in the
city of LA. Here's a problem in the city of LA. And most people don't know this because it doesn't get out. The city of LA this year was $1 billion over budget.
Billion.
And for the first time, I think, in 20 years, had declining revenues. So just think about if you ran your home this way. You're over budget and declining income. You end up going out of business. It's unsustainable. Now, what they did was the mayor and the city council played a lot of magic tricks and was able to sort of move things around so it balanced out. But they also doubled the fees, believe it or not, of trash collection. So it made the cost of living for everybody in Los Angeles even higher. And the cost of living in LA is already too high. It needs to come down, which is one thing I would focus on statewide or citywide. But so what happens? City services are cut.
Right.
I can't tell you the last time I saw a street cleaner driving down the city of Los Angeles on a street. Has anybody seen one?
No.
They've literally stopped them.
Hold on. You see the meter maid who's writing tickets because the invisible street cleaner's coming between 11 and 4 p.m., but the street cleaner never shows up. The ticket shows up, but not the street cleaner.
That's a good point. So that's the problem. I mean, the city does not have the money to provide the services. And city council member Yaroslawski was saying this, which I posted. Her words were, city services suck, and they're going to get worse. And that was a statement she made at city council. And that's where the city of LA is right now. It's in a bad place.
Homes.com. Oh, man, some might say. Homes.com is the best home shopping site. Well, maybe because Homes.com's super comprehensive and transparent agent directory. Or maybe it's that Homes.com is the only site that always directly connects you with the listing agent who knows the home the best. Perhaps it's because Homes.com has the most in-depth neighborhood content of any home shopping site that's extensively researched to highlight the personality of each neighborhood. Homes.com goes above and beyond to bring home shoppers the in-depth info they need to find the right home right away. I love these guys. I'm always on their site. It's a hobby of mine. I like checking out houses. Homes.com. We've done your homework. Morgan & Morgan. Well, there's a reason why Tom Brady's got 7 rings. Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Over $20 billion recovered for more than 500,000 clients. That's not just a slogan, that's results. In one Florida case, insurance offered $350,000. Client walked away with $12 million. That's what Morgan & Morgan will do for you. They've been doing this for 35 years, fighting for the people. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, for the people, not the power. It's Morgan & Morgan, right, Dawson?
If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/Adam or dial #law #529 from your cell phone. That's forthepeople.com/Adam or #law #529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement.
Well, is that the mayor there? Because I'm a problem solver. I am. Now I'm thinking back. I brought up Mark Garagos. I was at a party at his house, and he has, folks around who are in the community and the government, things like that. And I ran into a guy who was like, I don't know, district selectman of Burbank or something like that. I don't know what his job was, but he did something. And I said to him, I got a shop, my studios over in Burbank, and behind me is a side street, runs along the side of the freeway, and construction materials dumped there on a daily basis. They just dump, it's busted up stucco, it's 2x4s. They dump it because they do jobs, and the dump costs a lot of money. It costs, a couple $100 to dump the busted up stucco, tile, concrete, or what have you. And the guys that are doing the work don't have a lot of money, and that cuts into their bottom line. And I'm not talking about big-time commercial stuff. I'm just talking about, remod residential stuff, probably no permit. They demo it out. They throw it in the back of the pickup truck, and instead of heading out to Sun Valley or going to the dump and paying a couple $100, they just go Sunday night after the sun goes down, go the back street and just dump it. And you see this stuff sort of dumped all over. You see sofas and beds and sort of junk just dumped all over the city. And I was talking to this guy, and I said, you guys ought to start a thing that says you can dump for free. You can bring your stuff here. I said, go out front of the Home Depots, hand out flyers, tell them they'll get a 12-pack of Tecate if they drop it off. Let's not take a turn here for the ethnic, but let's face it, it's a certain group. They do construction. I work with these people, and they're dumping it off. So let them know they can take it and dispose of it properly. And he said, you know what? That's a really good idea. And I said, yeah, it'll save you all the... You got to clean it up as the city anyway. Eventually, you're going to drive around and pick it up eventually. It's going to cost you money. He said, that's a good idea. I said, you're welcome. And then about a half hour later, he circled back to me at the party, and he goes, what was that idea again? And I thought, oh, man, we are doomed.
Yeah.
This is never going to happen. But, yeah, a lot of it's just basic common sense stuff. And it bothers me that L.A. is that way. I guess it's an efficiency thing that bothers me. It's not an efficient city.
No, it's far from an efficient city. But listen, everybody knows this because we've driven around L.A., and it really is sad. I mean, we can joke about it, and it's good to joke about it, I guess, to relieve some of the tension. To drive around the city to see the amount of people that are passed out on the sidewalks, the homeless, to see the amount of drug dealing that's going on, to look at MacArthur Park, the amount of people that are dying in the streets every day, 5 to 7 people every day die in the streets in the city of L.A. on the street, the amount of trash that's built up, just the trash from the homeless that's built up. It's terrible. And the impact of it is incredible because all of these businesses that are along these streets just pay this dear price because you don't want to shop there, right? You look at downtown LA is now it's some 40% vacancy rate. And that's bad for the people that own those buildings. It's really bad for the couple that owns the local pizza parlor, that has the local florist, that has the local dry cleaner. The downstream impact of this is massive, and that's why so many businesses are closing, and that's why the revenue of Los Angeles is going down. This isn't rocket science. There's nothing complicated about it.
Well, I was in Sherman Oaks, of all places, a couple of weeks ago, and I was just going to a little mom and pop place selling covers for sunlight, solar roof, whatever, just some hardware. And it was like noon on a Tuesday, and I went to go to this business, and the door was locked. And I was like, "Oh, are you not open?" And the woman came around and she unlocked it. She goes, "No, we're open, but so many homeless people wander in here that I just have to keep the door locked." And I mean, it's symbolic, but you are open for business, except for your door remains locked on a weekday when you're open for business and the sun is shining because we are not running the city correctly. And we're not handling the homeless situation correctly. Billions of dollars wasted on that. What would be an approach you would have to that problem?
You know, we've got organizations in this region, Adam, that are doing just exceptional work. Downtown Women's Center, Union Rescue Mission, the People's Concern. They take people from the streets in. They give them the services they need, mental health care, drug addiction. They give them housing. They have a 90% effective rate, meaning 90% of the people that are walking in are getting a better life, and they're staying there, and they're getting the treatment. They're not leaving, getting back in the street. Instead of spending billions of dollars in doing this crazy thing, Home Safe or whatever the hell it's called, where you're renting in a hotel and you're putting a homeless person in a hotel without any services, they're not going to stay in there. They're just bouncing right back on the street. Residents out in Encino called me a while ago to go look at Sepulveda Basin. So I went out there last week. They've been trying to get the mayor out there for a year, they said. The Sepulveda Basin, along where the soccer fields are and the baseball fields are where all the kids play, behind the hedging and the greenery and whatnot, there's 300 to 400 people living.
Yeah.
I walked in there, the encampments, you can't believe it. And so I looked at it. I said, okay, because I'm all for solving things. It's easy to state a problem. To your point, what's the solution? I called a great group that's doing incredible work for the homeless called Hope the Mission. I said, would you meet me out there? Army Corps of Engineers offered to meet me out there. We all met. Literally within 10 minutes, Hope the Mission said, we can get everybody housed at an average cost of $100 a day. $100 a day. The city of Los Angeles is spending $900,000 per homeless to house them. This is $35,000 a year versus $900,000. So what should we be doing? The city should be redirecting funds to people concerned. Downtown Women's Center, Union Rescue Mission, Hope for the Mission. Give them the funds to build and start housing people and getting them off the street. It's just so logical. Why does LA and LA County and the state of California, the state's just as bad, have the largest homeless population than anywhere else in the world. That's what we got here. And and it's just because it's laziness, it's people don't have the backbone or the courage. I remember when I was running for mayor, the hit on me was, you want to criminalize homelessness. No. We want to give people a path to a better life. And we want to give people their neighborhoods back, their businesses back.
Well, also,
and it's illegal to be on the street.
Well, I don't get, like, what's compassionate about watching someone expire on the street?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you wouldn't do that with a dog. Say, well, let him OD on fentanyl biscuits on the street because you're compassionate. There's nothing compassionate about letting somebody die on the streets.
Have you been to MacArthur Park lately?
Oh, someone left the cake out in the rain again. That's a song.
Yeah,
Rick. I know.
I feel sorry for Norm Langers. I mean, put it into personal terms. Norm Langer is one of the great restaurateurs. Langers is
Deli?
The Deli.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. It is an LA institution. You got to put this thing into personal terms. Norm Langers has been there for like 50, 60 years. He's one of the best damn delis in the world, right across from MacArthur Park. He's been screaming for help from the mayor and the city council because of the amount of drug addiction, people dying, homeless. I went down with my family for lunch. There's homeless sleeping in his doorways. He now closes at 3 p.m. because it's so dangerous there. And now he's threatening to close full time. It doesn't have to be this way.
It's so negligent of the city. I have a few stories. One I think I shared with you, and I've talked about on the podcast before, but it does bear repeating, which is I was on a boat heading to Catalina with a guy who ran the crypto Staples Center back then. By the way, his boat wasn't as big as yours. Your boat's much bigger boat. I'm going to upset you. Not even close. Dingy compared to your stuff. Don't get me wrong. But a boat. I'll go on anyone's boat.
Now you love him. It was fun having you aboard.
It was fun being aboard. The boat I was on was the size of the boat that took me to your boat. Let's put it to you that way. So don't feel threatened with the boat envy. But I was on a boat. I was going to Catalina, and the guy was running crypto. And he was in charge. And I was talking about what's that like running that facility and the different venues and the bands and all that kind of stuff. And I said to him, I took my son to a Lakers game a while back, and I opened the door to walk out the exit and literally almost tripped over a guy selling hot dogs with bacon wrapped around it on a shopping cart on your property, right up in there. So these guys are all over the place. They're on your property. He goes, "Oh, are you kidding me? I hate it." I go, "Yeah, you hate it. I would think you'd hate it because you have all these other restaurants and people trying to do business in here, and you're selling food in your venue, and these guys are up against the door. They're not out on the street. They're on your property." He pulls his phone out. He goes, "Here's how much I hate." He pulls his phone out and shows me a picture of one of those grills with the hot dogs on there, and there's a giant cockroach on the grill, next to the hot dog. And he shows me the picture, and he goes, "I hate it." I said, "Well, you of all people should be able to do something about it because you run this facility." And, it really, at the time, sort of ushered back downtown's renaissance and Staples Center, now crypto. And, how much, revenue do you generate for the city with all the concerts and all the events and the sporting events and everything? I go down to the city council and tell those people to clean this crap up. And he said to me, "I don't want to get into trouble." And I thought, you don't want to get into trouble?
What does that mean, though?
He said, if I go in there and upset these people by telling them to get rid of these people who they think of, that's their constituency. I mean, I think the LA City Council feels like they work for the people selling the hot dogs, not the guys running the crypto center. He literally said, I don't want to upset these people because they'll have it out for me if I go in there, so just leave it be. And I thought, wow, we've really come a long way here, and not in the right direction, right? That this guy who's a contributor and a taxpayer who's running this multi-billion-dollar industry here, he is worried about the city council taking it out on him if he just asked them to do their job. Right. And that's kind of why we're here today. Also, as far as the homeless goes, I was re-listening to a conversation I had with Gavin Newsom on the homeless earlier this week, and I told him it was drugs and it was people that had mental issues, and he told me about the true face and the real picture of homelessness, which was a mom with 2 kids and a full-time job whose husband left and was out on the streets. And I said, that doesn't exist. No one's ever seen that. It's all people who are drug addicts and are going through serious mental issues. And he said, that's not the true face of homelessness. Now, this is several years ago, but how would one solve the problem if one didn't identify the problem? You as a builder want to know what the problem is. And then you go, okay, how do we remedy this problem? That's all you do. You go, what's the problem? I go, here's the problem. You go, here's how we're going to fix this problem. But you would never make up an invisible problem and then try to remedy it with pixie dust, which is why we have this problem. They're not identifying what the problem is. We have a fire that takes down the Palisades, and he wants to blame it on climate change, not on not having the aqueducts filled and not having the proper resources dispatched.
No, listen, you're preaching to the choir with me. And what makes it even more frustrating to me now that I've been going around the state talking to people, I was up at Bakersfield talking to some of the largest farmers in the state. I was in Sacramento for a dinner talking to the petroleum industry, listening to them. Been up in San Francisco a number of times with a bunch of the tech CEOs. Nobody feels like the state has their back.
Right.
Everybody feels like they're fighting the system just to stay alive. And I know that's the feeling people have in LA. And it's like, why? Why is it so difficult to run a business? You take a look at, and I don't think a lot of people in California realize this, most of the oil generation, the petroleum generation in the state of California is going to close. And it's going to close under the guise of it's environmentally better to not have these refineries. I don't think so, because we are an energy island, which means all of the gas and oil that we need are going to be coming in on trucks on the highway to replace it. Talking to the farmers, so overregulated for what they do. Now, there's some regulation that you need, but they're trying to be competitive with other states. Look at our entertainment industry. You're in the business. It's getting destroyed in Los Angeles and the state of California.
Well,
But again, I don't want to just be negative. To me, what's interesting is all of it can be changed with the right attitude and a different perspective.
Yeah.
It just can.
I agree. Go ahead and applaud. Thank you.
Can I just give an example?
Yes.
And again, I'm not just kowtowing to Glendale here, but we're sitting in a place, and I was up in the office talking to one of my fellow executives.
He was yelling at his assistant, but go ahead. I was there. Mr.
But in a very nice way. And I was recounting what this area looked like 20 years ago. There was 4 city blocks that looked like hell. Nobody wanted to be down here. South of Glendale. South Brand was dead. North Brand was booming, right? And the city had the foresight to say, we're going to get all of this real estate. We're going to do a competition. We're going to hire somebody that will invest a lot of money and redevelop it. And now you got South Brand is booming. And then the city is building housing and apartments and all this other kind of stuff. That was a simple decision that took a lot of courage, but it was a smart decision. I would say change the face of the city, because the city said, we're going to be a very competitive city and attract businesses. We're going to increase our tax revenue. We're going to pump it into more police and our schools. None of this. It takes courage and backbone and obviously intellect and competency, but it's all fixable, is my point.
Yeah, and
And we should go fix it.
I agree. It's reversible as well. If you've hung around long enough, you would see that places like Old Town Pasadena were falling apart and getting dicey and dangerous, and had a renaissance because somebody said, let's make Old Town Pasadena nice again. Even, and sort of weirdly, Melrose, which was sort of dark and dicey, and then got nice, and now is getting dark and dicey again. Like it'll go either direction. You either, it's basically a plant, and you can tend to it and prune it and fertilize it and look after it, or you can just sit back and watch it die, and weeds pop up around it. It's work. It's constant and it's consistent. But as you were talking about the industry was obviously, the entertainment industry was something we sort of had a monopoly on for many years, and then we do what we do, which is we get super greedy and we overregulate, and the industry just was insane. Like, you would union this and union that, guys driving vans getting $150 an hour. A PA couldn't run out and move a van. You had to get the Teamster to move the van. Before you know it, it just got too expensive to film in Los Angeles.
This November, action is free on Pluto TV. Go on the run with Jack Reacher.
Every suspect was a train killer.
Then buckle up for Drive, World War Z,
Every human being we save is one less to fight.
and Charlie's Angels.
Damn, I hate to fly.
Launch into sci-fi adventure with The Fifth Element and laugh through the mayhem in Tropic Thunder.
What is going on here?
All the thrills, all for free. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never. This November, action is free on Pluto TV. Go on the run with Jack Reacher.
Every suspect was a train killer.
Then buckle up for Drive, World War Z,
Every human being we save is one less to fight.
and Charlie's Angels.
Damn, I hate to fly.
Launch into sci-fi adventure with The Fifth Element and laugh through the mayhem in Tropic Thunder.
What is going on here?
All the thrills, all for free. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
Simply Safe. All right, listen up. Ever worried about the safety of your home? Well, now's the time to check out Simply Safe this year. They're giving my listeners early access to their Black Friday sale. 60% off any new system. That's their biggest deal of the year. Yep. You're not going to beat it all year, so let's do it now. Here's what makes Simply Safe different. It's real security because it can actually stop crime before it starts. That's the point. Most systems just alert you after someone's already inside. By then, it's too late. Simply Safe has live, trained agents who can see what's going on outside of your home and actually talk to the intruder before they intrude, telling them they're on camera and the cops are on their way. They call it Active Guard Outdoor Protection, and it works. I've used Simply Safe for years. We all use it here. They've been a longtime sponsor of this show. I trust them to protect my family, my property. It's easy to set up, no contracts. You can check everything right from your phone. Great technology, great people. It's Simply Safe, right, Dawson?
You can try it risk-free for 60 days with a money-back guarantee, so don't wait. Head to simplysafe.com/Adam and get 60% off any new system. That's simplysafe.com/Adam.
I mean, I'll give you an example. So, like, if you take a look at, like, two of the most progressive types, let's just say, in the industry, you take Samuel L. Jackson, very progressive, Bryan Cranston, very progressive guy. They both live in Los Angeles. Bryan Cranston, I drove to the Burbank airport so we could get on a plane so we could go to New Mexico so we could shoot Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad was supposed to be shot here in California, but we got too greedy
And the production, and it doesn't matter, and my point is it doesn't matter how liberal you are or how woke you are or how much you ring that bell, pay your fair share, or when is enough enough. They'll get on the first flight and go to New Mexico and take the entire circus with them if it means saving some money and putting it in their pocket, because ultimately whatever they say, they're business people first. And when I was doing a shot, I was doing a show in Canada, and I was, Mike, where was it? Winnipeg. Beautiful. Mike booked me there in January. It's awesome there, man. I brought my swim trunks. It was 37 degrees below. We're in the Burton Cummings Theater in Winnipeg. So I check in a hotel in Winnipeg in January, because Mike thought it'd be a good idea to play Winnipeg in January. And I go up to my floor, and the guys from the hotel, he's walking me down to my room, and he goes, look, I'm not supposed to say anything, but the guy at the suite at the end, that's Samuel L. Jackson. I go, okay. He goes, he's shooting a movie. He's here for like 4 months, 5 months. I go, oh, what's he doing? They're shooting a movie in Winnipeg? Well, it's not Winnipeg. It's supposed to be Chicago. So the whole point is the most progressive guy in LA will get on a plane and leave the country and live there for 5 months to save a couple of bucks in taxes and on the production gladly. So people will leave to save money, or they'll happily stay here if you make it attractive for them. It's super easy to turn it around. For some reason, we don't seem to be inspired by that, and I think it's because of their mentality. They're dogs that don't hunt. They're process people. They want to talk about everything. They want to have a meeting about everything. They want a discussion group about everything, but they never want to roll up their sleeves and just go to work. And the guys who have the background in development and construction and building and commercial, they're all about solving problems and working. And that's why I'm always for the person who is from the private sector who wants to come in and bring that mentality to the government versus the lifelong bureaucrat.
I'm with you on that.
Well, why wouldn't you be? Because I'm talking about you. Here, here.
But I would also just add to that, just from the state level, our elected officials on the state level are so proud to say we're the 4th largest economy in the world, which is pretty amazing when you think about it. Larger economy than India, Japan. Incredible. Well, if we're the 4th largest economy in the world, why don't we act like it? And why don't we have the best schools? Why don't we have the best housing? Why aren't we competitive with making a film in Winnipeg, in London, in Atlanta, right? In New Jersey? Netflix just opened a huge facility in New Jersey. The other states and countries are eating our lunch. Well, we're the 4th largest economy. Use the power of our economy to keep the business here and grow it. It's just so simple to me to think about it that way. So to your point, we should be competitive, because I don't think anybody wants to go spend 5 months in Winnipeg. I shouldn't say that. The people from Winnipeg here, but
A lot of good folk from Winnipeg.
yeah, I guess we're not
Here
doing
today.
a project in Winnipeg anytime soon. Yeah, that's the end of that retail center. Yeah.
Well, obviously everyone here is interested in a change of direction, and you represent that. And I know you're playing it a little bit close to the vest, but could you give us some hints on what Rick Caruso may be doing in the future?
Well, there's no announcement tonight. I ran into people outside saying, I'm so excited to hear about your announcement you're making tonight. I said, the only announcement I'm making tonight is where I'm going to dinner afterwards. But what's that?
I mean,
Well, maybe we should. Okay, let's see. Can we do that? Can we do
yeah,
it?
let's do it.
Let's do a round of applause for Mayor. Okay. Wow. That's pretty robust. Okay. I appreciate that very much. All right. Governor? Whoa. I know. What do you think?
It was close, but I would say mayor inched out governor. But
Wow.
of course,
Wow.
these people are selfish bastards. They want you all for their own. They don't want to share you with Sacramento.
But
And by the way, what would you do as governor with that bullet train? Like, what do we put a bullet in the bullet
Yeah,
train?
you put a
Old
bullet in the bullet
Like
train.
Old Yeller?
Yeah, that
Take it behind the wood shop?
that's going to be a monument to something. Yeah, it's going to stop. It's going to be a monument to something.
Well, you know, it's interesting, and as I think about you saying a monument, something popped in my head. But I made a documentary about racing, and it was Ford versus
Do you know this guy
Ferrari.
races cars? Very impressive. Yeah, he's a really skilled racer. At least that's what he told me for hours on end.
Yeah, well, I told you to leave that part off when you brought it up. Just make it seem organic. But anyway, for the next one. Now, I made a documentary about Ford versus Ferrari, and you saw the movie with Matt Damon and Christian Bale. Yeah, it was a good movie and a good story, and I made the story before the feature, and I called it the 24-Hour War, which I think is a better name because it's the 24 hours in Le Mans, they went to war. But anyway, when we were interviewing, we went down to Modena, and we were interviewing the Ferrari guys. Ferrari has a room in his sort of boardroom. You may want to implement this. He doesn't have the plaques and the trophies on display. He has parts that broke.
Wow.
He has,
That's
$10 parts that broke 23 hours into Le Mans and stopped him from winning the race.
Wow.
Like, he puts on display all the monuments of stuff they got wrong. And again,
I love that idea.
you're running the 24-hour Le Mans, they get put out by parts that cost 50 cents sometimes.
Yeah.
Gaskets and rings and things that go bad. Like, just little bitty things happen in a 24-hour race, and it puts the entire car's out. Yeah. It's not because the engine blew up. It's because a gasket gave way or something like that. So he leaves these as reminders to people to really focus on their work. And maybe we should do that with the bullet train.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just make it a monument to California's inefficiencies and basically take school kids there on buses, by the way,
Yeah.
not electric buses, diesel buses, and walk them through and say, you see what happens, kids, when you dare to dream, but you're stupid? This is where you end up. Everyone tells you to dare to dream, but not dumb people. Don't dream, dumb people. You end up with a dumb train that goes nowhere.
Oh, that's a classic.
But what do
Well,
you...
at least we have a plan for that now.
Yes, I have now. I'll put me in charge of the education system. I'll talk some sense into these kids. No, I would like to be transportation czar. I'd like to be I'd like to be the traffic czar. We've discussed that.
Yes,
before.
we have. Yep.
I was literally driving from Malibu into Glendale on Sunday, and it was about 9:30 in the morning. I was just driving down the 10, and I passed one of those big electronic freeway signs that normally say "click it or ticket," because none of us have gotten the message about seatbelts in 2025. I don't know if you've heard, but there's this nylon strip in your car that goes across your chest. I'll talk to you about it after the show. It's quite an innovation. But it always says click it or ticket. But this time it said something equally as useless. It said, if you're drowsy, pull over and sleep. And I thought, what am I going to do, pull over in Westwood? I'm heading to the 405 off the 10. I mean, put it out on the grapevine at 3 a.m. for the long-haul truckers that ran out of speed, but it's 9:30 Sunday morning. You want to just pull into Westlake Village or Westchester or where should I, what is this information on this sign for? Who's watching it? And why can't we just say, use your damn signal? Or something useful, or stay out of the fast lane if you're going 45, or like something, or just drive like champions. something
go.
motivational.
There you go.
Anything, or as I've said, sell the sign to Taco Bell.
Yeah. Make some money on
Make
it.
some money off
There you
it.
go.
Put that into the school system, right?
There you go.
Thank you, but
you should
pull
be
over when you're drowsy on Sunday at 9:30 in the morning driving through Westwood on the 405. Useless. All right, a serious question for you, Rick.
Okay.
All right, because this is something that's near and dear to me, and I'd like to know what you think about this or what you would do to remedy it. I drive up and down PCH on an almost daily basis, and I go to all the construction sites, and I see everyone that's working, and I went up to the Palisades and toured a site and saw the crew that was on the site. It was a lot of framers, HVAC guys, electricians, plumbers, blah, 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 all of them. Nobody from the inner city. No black kids. This entire place. It's mostly Hispanic, mostly all Hispanic, and they're all working the trades, and good for them. But I always think about the kids in the inner city, these young guys, they're not going to college, they're getting recruited into gangs, they're getting into trouble, they're rudderless, there's nowhere to go. AI is going to replace everybody, but not the trades guys. It'd be so easy to recruit these guys and teach them a trade. They'd have some dignity. It's the hourly wage, by the way, better than anybody. I mean, I said to the guy, what are these guys getting paid? They're getting $250, $350, $400 a day. All these guys. And they're all working. They're driving the equipment. They're framing. They're doing everything. They're making a good wage. You don't need 4 years of college. You don't have to build up debt to do it. You can basically be on the job site at 18 years old. By the time you're 21, you're off and running, and you have a skill and you have some pride. And you work around these guys. They're content. There's a thing about a guy who has a skill, who knows how to put things together, who has a field of expertise. There's a dignity to it, and there's a pride to it. There's a sense of purpose to it. And these guys aren't joining gangs, and they're not out all night, and they're not getting into trouble. And I don't understand why this city doesn't, especially after the Palisades, after Malibu, and after Altadena, doesn't go into these cities with these broken families in these inner cities and get these kids and recruit them into these vocational programs.
I think it's a great idea. Yeah, it's a great idea. One of the things we lost in this region, in the state, are trade schools.
Yes.
And we got to bring, that's something I've long thought of. We got to bring trade schools back. Now, many of the unions have within their union shops, they have trade schools where they're training young people. And it's fantastic. I was just up in Las Vegas where the Carpenters Union, their facility is incredible up there. And they're training people. The pipe fitters are training people. So we have to work with the unions to do more of that. But to your point, we got to get trade schools back open again.
Yes.
And because it is a life skill and it never goes away, and financially you're taken care of for life. So I agree with that. I think there's way too much emphasis on, and I'm a big believer in going to college, but it's not right for everybody. And people should have a trade, and they're well taken care of. So I agree with you.
I was out in Vegas. I was talking to some carpenters. They built a whorehouse in 4 days over there. 4 days. 4 days.
That was a different. I wasn't on that
Oh,
trip.
no, you were.
Just want to
oh,
be,
yeah.
I just want to be clear what trip I was on in Vegas.
4
I'm not
days,
traveling with you to Vegas. I know that.
We may take your boat to Vegas when I'm in charge.
Oh, my God. I love that.
Yeah, the trades and getting kids back into trades and this idea.
Did you actually ask somebody how quickly they built a whorehouse in Vegas?
I kicked some tires and yeah. No, come on, Rick, come on. I'm a God-fearing man. I was just making a joke. All right, now I think Alicia Krause is out there with a microphone, and we can
do a little Q&A. But I don't want to cut you off, Rick. If there's something you'd like to kind of, finish with, other than your whorehouse soliloquy.
How long would it take to build that same building in L.A.?
Oh, my God. Cranston was going to work on the whorehouse, but he went out in New Mexico instead. Yeah, all right. So
I'm good. I'm ready for questions.
Ready for questions.
Yeah.
So, Alicia, you got a microphone out there. You're poised. There's people in the audience who have questions.
Some excited people in the audience who have some questions. If you guys don't mind, for the benefit of the listening and viewing audience and for the gentleman up front, if you can give your first name and what part of Los Angeles you live in. Okay, ma'am.
My name's Shelly, and I live in Lakewood. My question is, I would like to retire in the next few years. My friends who have retired have left Southern California. So how do you stay and retire?
It's a really good question. It's not only
elect Rick Caruso, governor of California.
Yeah, there you go.
Stay.
Well, the governor crowd got a lot smaller all of a sudden. Listen, it's a problem statewide. And here's what I think we really have to focus on. There's two sides to this. And I think about it a lot. When I started my business almost 40 years ago in LA, I always had the feeling that there was abundant opportunity. And that if I worked really hard, between one rung and the next rung, you could literally climb up the ladder. That was the feeling I think so many of us had, not only in Los Angeles, but California. It was the state where anything could happen if you worked hard. When you work hard and you're into your career, you should also have the ability to retire and feel well taken care of and not worry about it. But the cost of living in California has gotten so out of control because we just haven't managed it right. And that's where we need to say, we're going to start peeling stuff back so it's not costing as much. Why does gas in California cost 2 to 3 times gas in anywhere else in this country? Because it's embedded with so many fees and taxes. Start peeling it back. You know that 20 cents out of every dollar you pay for gas goes to that stupid rail line. It's crazy.
Really?
Yes, it does. Every day.
I'm going to tell the kids. That's the first thing I tell the kids.
Yeah. Knock 20 cents out of it. But
wow.
So what I would focus on in the state is lowering the cost of living. And you're going to lower the cost of living by reducing bureaucracy, building more housing so more people can afford a house. We have a low inventory of housing in the city of Los Angeles. The lowest housing start in 10 years is now under Karen Bass. State of California, we're 1 million homes short, at least 1 million homes short.
Well,
that can all be corrected. And you should be able to stay in California.
We were talking off the air about a luxury project you're building, and I was asking you about what it cost a unit for you to do. And Rick's stuff is real high-end stuff, and the price you were talking about a unit for the super high-end luxury condo is the price the state and the city is quoting for homeless housing.
That's right.
Per
no,
unit,
it's true.
With and almost no Carrera marble.
Yeah. It's true.
And no gym on the roof or none of the amenities. It's costing them, I think it was like $900,000 a unit. These are small units for homeless. So I don't think people fully understand the cost of regulation and how that affects everything.
40% of the cost of housing in California is regulation. 40%. But the other thing that we're building that I'm really proud of is low-income workforce housing for in 2 hours. Because I don't think people should have to work 2 hours to get to work and 2 hours to get home. And we're not asking for any tax credits, no subsidies from any government agency, and we're doing it. And I think every company should be investing in their employees by doing workforce housing that they can afford to live in and be close to home. And I'm really proud of our company for doing that.
All right. Can Shelly live there, or is that going to be... She needs to work for you. All right, Alicia, do you have another question? Are you up there? There we go.
Hi, I'm Ellen from Sherman Oaks. I'm really terrified with the Olympics coming. The whole world's coming to L.A.
Oh, those javelin guys scare the crap out of me, man. I run serpentine to the mailbox. I know what you're talking about.
I'm just wondering what should be done.
We got to be ready for it. We don't have a choice but to be ready for it. And I think it's just it's a tragedy, right? That we're even, in the 84 Olympics, for any of you that's old enough to remember the 84 Olympics, did any of us ever sit around saying, are we going to be ready for it? No, you just knew the city was going to be ready for it, right? We had great people that were out there doing it. What is going on with our leadership in this city that we believe we're not going to be ready for it? And you know why we believe that? Because we see it. The city looks dirty. Nothing's happening. There's no excitement around it. We don't hear about the planning that's going on because there isn't any. And so many of the Olympic Games are literally outside the city of LA now, which I think is really sad. I think it's really sad. I'll go on the record and I'll probably piss off a friend of mine. I think the opening ceremony should be in the LA Coliseum where it started in 1932. And I don't know, it just bothers me that the opening of the LA Olympics is in Inglewood. Inglewood isn't LA. LA's LA. And I think we've got to get back to focusing on, our core principles and our goals and just make things happen. So I'm worried about it too. I'm not involved with the Olympics. I know Casey Wasserman very well. I know he's working his tail off to try to get it done. But I think he's fighting a mighty battle with the city that isn't moving the way it should be moving to get it done.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Yeah, you know O'Reilly Auto Parts. They keep your car on the road, man. You want to be on the shoulder with a broken down car looking like a dope. Friendly, helpful service people who actually know their stuff, not just some kid who'd rather be on his phone. I use these guys. I always have. I used to use them out of necessity. Now it's sort of more of a hobby, but it's always O'Reilly for me. Thousands of parts and accessories stocked in the store, or you can find the stuff online if you like as well. They'll help you find what you need, or they'll hook you up with a shop if you're not a DIY type, but why not do it yourself? So whether you're a gearhead or you don't know a lug nut from a donut, they'll walk you right through it. No attitude, just real help. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit us online at O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. Rougiette. Now, I know nobody wants to talk about this. I'm talking about ED, but trust me, you're not the only guy blocked in the bedroom. We've all heard the excuses. It's just stress, long day at work, happens to everyone sometimes, right? Am I right? Look, it's more common than you think. 30 million men deal with it. That's what, a Dodger Stadium full of guys and the parking lot as well. You're not special. You're just a man who might need a little backup. That's where Rougiette comes in. They've got fast-acting ED treatments prescribed by real doctors, delivered right to your door. No more awkward pharmacy runs. No more pretending everything's fine. Stop making excuses and start making moves with Rougiette. Am I right, Dawson?
Visit RUGIET.com/Adam to get 15% off your first order. That's RUGIET.com/Adam. Use our code to support the show. And so Rougiette knows that we sent you.
It's not a good...
I think it can still be fixed, though. I think there's time to fix it.
How much time do we have?
3 years.
We have 3 years.
Yeah. Not that long. We got the World Cup coming.
It's screw soccer. Don't clap. Come on. We got real football. It's a bad sign, when you're San Francisco and the Chinese are coming, or it's I think when we had the Super Bowl and we had to clean it up between LAX and SoFi and stuff, or it's your house and you have company coming. It's a bad sign when you have to run around and clean up real fast. It means you're not running your home
efficiently. You know, when you're grabbing everything and throwing it in a closet and smashing the door shut, it means your house is crappy. And us in LA, we do this thing all the time. We're like, oh, the boss is coming to dinner. Clean up, get the homeless guys scooped up. If you're running around scooping up homeless people and moving piles of burning garbage, it probably means the city is not running how it should be running.
I agree. It's a great analogy. I completely agree.
Well, that's kind of my thing.
I still think
great
it's
analogies,
fixable.
you know.
I still think it's fixable. Don't lose hope yet.
All right. Let's see. What else out there? Alicia with the microphone and another question.
Thank you, Mike from Boyle Heights. And first of all, Mr. Caruso, thank you for all you've done for Los Angeles so far. I do hope that you run for mayor. We need you. My question tonight is, and it may be tough to answer, is all the mayors that we've had, all the city council people, the last 40 years, what happened to LA? Why have we become what we've become? What have all those politicians done, and what can be done to fix it?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, I worked for 3 mayors, so I have a really good perspective on this. And Tom Bradley was a remarkable mayor. He really was remarkable. I learned a lot from him. And he knew how to just get things done. And Arthur will say this. He turned to me, I was 26, 27 years old. Yeah, 25, okay. Art remembers this better than I do. And he said, go solve the Inyo water lawsuit that had been going on for decades between Inyo County and the city of Los Angeles. Just go solve it. And he just empowered people to go get stuff done. And he was really competent, and he didn't let you off the hook. Dick Reardon was a great mayor. And same thing, did great things. And I tell you who I think is the biggest unsung hero as a mayor of the city of Los Angeles is Jim Hahn. Because Jim Hahn asked me to be the president of the police commission. We were under construction in this project. And he called me up, and he just became mayor, and he said, would you be the president of the police commission? And I said, no, I will not. Jim, I like you a lot. I've known Jim forever. I said, I'm not going to do it. I said, it's going to be a terrible job. Wouldn't give up, called me again. Third time, I remember literally, Ara, I was parked on Brand Boulevard, about to walk on the construction site. I think it was actually before we even started construction. It was going to a hearing. And he said, one more time, you've got to take the job. Here was the job. You got a very, very popular chief of police that looks like he came out of Central Casting. And actually a nice guy, Bernie Parks. A black man, very popular in Los Angeles, had terrible policies that were driving crime up and causing officers to quit. We had an empty academy. We had spiking crime. We had a department after the Rodney King beatings that was under a federal consent decree. The federal courts were overseeing LAPD. And I knew it was going to be a tough job. I took the job, and I'm so grateful I did take the job. And I remember calling Jim Hahn, and I said, I'm going to recommend we do not renew him, and we're going to hire this guy named Bill Bratton. And on the other side of the phone was silence. Why? Because we're going to basically fire a very popular black man, and we're going to hire a white guy that's not even from LA and has this sort of funny accent.
Is he a Boston guy?
He's a Boston guy.
Right.
And what happened? Jim said, just do what's right. And we did it. We got crime down to levels not seen since 1950. Jim lost his second term. He had the backbone and the courage and the strength to do what was right for the residents of the city of Los Angeles at his own political cost. We've lost that. And we need to start electing people that frankly don't care if they get reelected. Just do the right thing.
Well,
But everybody's got to go do that and stop electing people for ideology. And elect people because they're competent. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Well,
what do you think?
Well, this sort of first whatever it is, no, it's not a good plan. If the job's important, so you know, when you're doing sort of ceremonial stuff where you go the first female, the first black lesbian female, or whatever it is we're talking about, that's fine if you're the ceremonial mayor of Hollywood and you just preside over the Walk of Fame ceremony. But if it's a nuts and bolts job, if you're an airline pilot or you're running the city of Los Angeles, then we need the best, which can be a black female lesbian or anything. But we need the best, and we shouldn't be factoring in all these other factors that do not have to do with job performance. But if you think back, or I'm thinking back on it, we had Antonio Villaraigosa, I think 2 terms, right?
Yeah.
So we got 8 years of that. Then
you had Eric Garcetti.
We had Garcetti, who's no good, and now we have Karen Bass. So, okay, so here's what I'm saying. Okay, but you're asking what's going on in this city. Well, what if I said, what's going on with this franchise? Like, what is going on with, you pick a team. You go, okay, what's going on with the Cleveland Browns? Well, what if they had 16 years of horrible coaches? What if it was just one horrible head coach? This guy did 8 years. He sucked. He didn't know anything about football. He was ineffective. So then they put in another one. Same thing, another one. I mean, we're getting into 16 years of horrible, incompetent idiots running this city. And I say we need a competent idiot. That's
I love your
half a
endorsement.
compliment. Yes. No, I mean, why wouldn't we be run into the ground? We've had idiots. We've had a succession of idiots without a break for well over a decade. So we're going to have to do something, or we're just going to keep going in this trajectory. But it's the same way a company, if you ran Ford, if Ford just hired a succession of idiots to run their company, or a professional franchise, or any entity.
That's right.
You bring Starbucks, whoever, whatever, if it was just one idiot after the next, then of course it'd be run into the ground. Sorry, Alicia. I became emotional.
It's okay. My name is Jody. I'm a single mother who lives in the Palisades. And when I say I live in the Palisades, I currently live in the Palisades.
Good.
And I have an enormous amount of survivor's guilt, as opposed to my 2 people here who don't currently live in the Palisades. I have to ask, we need a census, because there is a misnomer out there that there is no one living there. And the truth is, if you look around, a lot of the hazards are still very much there, to the point where I had to actually LinkedIn and write to the head of LADWP to ask if the reservoir was filled, while my daughter was living with me there, and we're struggling to get information. We have a school that we fought to have opened, which is opened with children in it, in a public school.
Is
We
that
have 2
Marquez?
schools, Marquez and Calvary, are open. And
Right.
it's a ghost town in the sense of any given day you walk through. I mean, we have the restaurants, we have things, we have people there who are fighting to keep it alive
Yeah.
so that these people can come back. And so we need more people to know that there are people living there. We need the city to know, and the workers to know that the brush still needs to be cleared, that the reservoir needs to be filled, and that fix the streets. I mean, the amount of flat tires just driving through on a regular basis is horrible. So if we can in any way push for a census to show that there are people living there, we can hopefully.
Yeah, I think, well, yeah, listen, I agree with you 1,000%. I'm up there all the time, obviously. And I'm sorry you 2 lost your homes. The problem you've got, and again, this, I'm not trying to beat up anybody. There is just this general attitude that they don't care. They just don't care. And they live by these stupid rules. I was walking with my team up there the other day. I get a lot of texts from people, and I love it. I got a great idea, right? And then goes into the idea. One of my favorite great ideas was this one lady, Johnson Tree Company, that lives in the Palisades, said, I will donate flowers. Let's plant flowers along Sunset. It was like 7 in the morning, And I'm a crybaby anyway, and I started crying. My wife goes, "What are you crying about?" I said, "This is the greatest idea." Last Sunday, we were all up there, hundreds of us, planting flowers along Sunset to give hope, right? It was beautiful, wasn't it? It was fantastic. And so my point is, Palisades is going to come back in spite of the city, not because of the city. And at Steadfast LA, and Nick Geller is here, who runs Steadfast for us. They're doing incredible work. We have a full-time team. I don't see anybody standing alongside of us. What I do see is the residents. And I think what we've all got to say to ourselves, we're going to make this happen no matter what. And my rule is we will walk with the politicians, we'll walk around the politicians, or we'll walk through the politicians, but we're coming back. Period, end of story. And not just to beat up the city of LA, the county's not doing any better. I was in Altadena this afternoon, and Altadena is worse. I don't see almost anything coming out of the ground. And we're spending a lot of time in Altadena with our grant program for businesses and whatnot, and Altadena is going to have to do the same thing. I had one of the best days of my life, along with Nick and some other people at Steadfast. We gave 5 family homes today. Unbelievable. The dearest, sweetest people in the world. Salt of the earth. One gentleman, 85 years old, lived in this home for 40 years. Nobody's coming to rescue him. But 5 families, and we're going to keep that program up. We're going to try to get them back in these homes before the holidays. But why isn't the county doing that? Why isn't the city doing that? Why isn't the state doing that? Why isn't the federal government supporting these regions that are wiped out? We have 0 federal aid. And I got to tell you, this really is a moment in this region where I hope people band together and say, we deserve better. I don't care if it's me or not. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about at every level, we deserve better because those elected officials get paid to fight for us, not to sit on their ass and do nothing. And that's what we have at the state and the local level.
I have seen Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass give 100 interviews and pressers screaming about ICE, talking about fighting Trump. I've not heard one word out of their mouth about rebuilding anything. I do not hear anything about expediting permits or any federal help or Altadena, Palisades, Malibu. No rebuilding, no fire, no infrastructure. There's no talk. It is just talk about fighting ICE and fighting Trump since the fires. I mean, literally, I keep track. I follow along. I've not heard the governor or the mayor say one word, or if they've said one word, it's one word for every 5,000 words they say about fighting Trump and fighting
listen,
ICE.
I think you can do a lot of things at once. I am not a supporter of what ICE did in the city of LA. I am not a supporter of that. I think it was overly done. It was harsh. It's wrong. And I think we've got to have a path of amnesty for people that have been here, working hard, doing the right thing, raising their families, paying their taxes, all that kind of stuff. Reagan did it. We need to do it again. So I agree with fighting the way ICE is conducting themselves. But I also think if you're going to criticize ICE, like Bass does, it's just empty rhetoric. There's nothing behind it. Because she wants her reelection to be a referendum on Trump, not her record, because her record is so bad. Right. That's what that rhetoric is about. But if you really care about the people that you say you want to defend, go and demand a path to citizenship. Go to Washington and make that happen. Our governor should be doing it. Our mayor should be doing it. We need the workers in Los Angeles now more than ever. And it's just patently unfair to me if somebody has been here for years and years and years doing all the right things, doesn't have a criminal record. If somebody has a criminal record, round them up, send them out. you're gone. Close the borders, absolutely. But if somebody's working hard, doing the right thing, give them the ability to be a citizen of this country. I think why not? That's the right thing to do. But I want to just say to the lady that was talking about, people don't know you live there, I can tell you something. We at Steadfast do, and we are happy to talk to you, and it's a hell of a good question whether or not that reservoir is full. It's supposed to be full, but we live in Brentwood Park. None of the brush has been cleared. It's the dumbest thing in the world. Same brush that the Palisades had that became rocket fuel. So I understand your frustration completely.
All right, do we have one more, Alicia?
Final question.
Hi, Mr. Caruso. My
Hi.
name is Paula Ramirez, and also grew up in Boyle Heights off of First and Boyle in a duplex as a child.
Fantastic.
And I was very happy to volunteer for your campaign last time. I was even on the double-decker bus with you.
Wow, that was fun.
Yes. And I wanted to say thank you for staying engaged. Thank you for being a voice. Thank you for being a leader when we have virtually no leadership in the city. I still live in LA, born and raised there. I live in Highland Park. And I have a question. We are all wondering if you're going to bless us with an announcement tonight. We don't even care at what level. Governor, state, city, we need you. We need you.
I really appreciate that. I'm really honored by it. And I feel very blessed and very grateful for the support I'm getting, not only around the city, but around the state. It's just, I'm really the luckiest guy in the world, but it wears on me. I had a discussion with one of my dearest buddies this weekend about it because I want to do what's right. I want to do something that's good. I'm at this stage of my life that, I want to really give back in a meaningful way. And so I'm really struggling with what is the best path to do that. But I'm at a point very soon I will make a decision because I'm at, we're just at that point that I have to do it. But it's tough. It's a really tough decision because I want to come in and do good and do the right thing, get it done, and go back to private sector. I'm not looking for a career. And so, I don't know, within a few weeks or so, something like that, I'll probably have a decision made. And it's a big topic of discussion in the house with my kids and my wife, who are incredibly supportive with anything that I decide to do. So I'll see. I don't know, Adam. Adam said he'd move to Sacramento with me if I go for governor.
Well, if I can be traffic czar, I will do that. I mean, we got to take the boat out there. I'm not driving. If that's what you're saying. I'm not taking that grapevine. All right, will you announce it on my podcast, or will you give me an exclusive when the time comes for you to make the decision?
Why not?
All right. Well, then I only have one more question, which is, do you validate parking?
No.
All right, well, then
listen, I'm a capitalist. I do want to say one thing. I did, because today was an epic day today.
Yeah.
Right? And
the Dodgers.
I got to tell you, here's what I thought. What I thought was so great about today, it was a day that LA needed to be happy.
Yeah.
It was such a tough year for so many people. And the fact that there was 1 million people lining the streets of LA, excited and cheering, it just goes to show you, do not give up hope on the city of Los Angeles. Great things can and will happen, and for the state too. So God bless LA and the state.
Thank
and I
you,
love
guys.
this guy, Adam Carolla.
Oh, you didn't have to say it, Rick. You didn't have to say it, man.
But I mean it, buddy.
Great to see you, buddy. Rick Caruso, everybody. Thank you guys for coming out tonight.